Good morning everyone and welcome back to Cameras and More. Today, early in the morning, we're gonna be trying this Olympus OM40. Today we've got a piece of history in our hands, the Olympus OM40, which came and hit the market in 1985, nearly 40 years ago. It was aimed at advanced hobbyists with a launch price around $200 in 1985. That was like buying a brand new iPhone Pro today, except you couldn't scroll through TikTok. It belonged to the two-digit OM series, which were more affordable than the single-digit Pros, like the legendary OM1 or the legendary OM2, which you can find in the channel. While those were the Ferraris of SLRs, the OM40 was more like a sporty Audi, stylish, yes, accessible, absolutely, but still gave you that full manual Olympus experience. The OM40 is a sturdy little beast made of a mix of metal and high-quality plastic. None of that flimsy toy feeling here. As for the features, it had some surprises up its sleeve for the time. Program mode, yep, that one lets you be a little lazy. Manual mode and aperture priority for when you're feeling like a pro. Dual function SPD metering to make sure your shots turned out as balanced as grandma's cooking recipe. Compared to the OM10 and OM20, the OM40 was like the older sibling who already went to college. Better metering system, more versatility, and a fully automatic program mode that was pretty advanced for the day. It's as if Olympus was saying, let's get hobbyists something they can really play with. But of course, Olympus wasn't alone in the game. The competition was fierce. Canon had the AE1 program, Nikon was rocking the FE, and Pentax had the ME Super. It was like a camera showdown without the special effects. The bestseller, that'd be the Canon, hands down. But the OM40 had its own fan base thanks to its unique features and the quality feel Olympus always delivered. And let's talk about one of the real highlights, the ability to use Zuiko lenses. These little beauties are optical masterpieces. Not only are they ultra sharp, they give your photos that wow factor that Olympus lenses have had since day one. Plus, being so compact, the OM40 with a Zuiko lens is still lightweight and easy to carry around. A real plus for long shoots. Today, the OM40 was aimed at serious enthusiasts, those who wanted more than a pointed shoot but didn't want to sell the car to buy a professional camera. Nowadays, the OM40 is perfect for analog lovers, collectors, or anyone wanting to dip their toes into film photography without breaking the bank. If you're into vintage cameras but don't want too much complexity, the OM40 might just be your new best friend. And now I'll explain how this small Olympus OM40 works, and as always I'll do it by showing you the camera from the outside. We start with the top, where on the left we find the main dial to turn on the camera, which has 4 positions. The first one is for checking the battery, with a spring mechanism to prevent you from leaving it in this position, and it returns to P. If the sound is continuous, it means that the battery has a good charge. The second position is program. In this position, you set the aperture to its smallest value, f16, so the camera chooses both aperture and shutter speed. The third position is auto, which means automatic shutter speed with priority to the aperture you select. Choose the aperture according to your composition and the camera will decide and display the necessary shutter speed. The last position is manual, which, as the name suggests, allows you to select both aperture and shutter speed manually. Next we have the pentaprism topped by the hot shoe, and to its right the dial for selecting the ISO. You select the ISO by lifting the ring until you reach the desired value and then return the dial to the central position. Why? Because the dial also works for exposure compensation, offering plus and minus 2 stops. But if you prefer, you can use the DX reader to set the ISO automatically. In this case, you won't be able to use exposure compensation. You can always use the manual setting, especially when your film doesn't have a DX code reader. Next is the R button for rewinding the film, and then moving forward we find the shutter button, which in this case is made of plastic and is threaded for a remote shutter release. Finally, there's the film advance lever and the self-timer slide, which retracts after use and resets itself when you advance the film again, preventing errors. Lastly, we have the frame counter, and that wraps up the top of the camera. On the back, it's made of plastic and features a large, bright and clear viewfinder. On the left, the door has a small window allowing you to see the film that's loaded. At the bottom, we see the model number, the typical made in Japan, the connections for a grip winder and the tripod mount socket. On the right, we have the strap locks, the same as on the left. To open the back door, as was typical in cameras of that era, you need to pull up the rewind dial until the door pops open. On the front, we see its typical 1980s design with plastic and red lights, almost as if it were kit. We see the model emblem OM program indicating the camera's functionality, the red light for the self-timer and battery check, and the brand logo above the pentaprism. Next we have the shutter speed selector at the base of the lens mount in true Olympus fashion, and finally a small die on the right lets you choose between spot or center weighted metering. And that's everything about the camera's handling and functions seen from the outside. So, is the Olympus OM40 still worth it today? Absolutely. You get a sturdy camera full of history, access to some of the best vintage lenses around, and the best part, it's affordable. Perfect for diving into the world of film photography without mortgaging your house. So if you love that retro charm and you're looking for something a bit different, give this little gem a shot. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for being here. Subscribe. Big hug and peace.